Welcome back, nerds. Fino here with a guide for the Nerofest Grand Finale Exhibition Quest, specifically the one from the 2018 event. This one comes in two flavors, the regular finale and the Pre-Nerf prototype finale. The mechanics are largely the same except with significantly higher health bars and some altered effects. So if you have a strategy that's more sophisticated than brute force it should largely carry over. That said, I quite obviously brute forced it, but there's a method to my madness. So the general flow of the fight is this. You start squared off against Jack, Medea, and Lancer Alter. Jack immediately puts 3 stacks of buff block on your front line, so I cleanse that off. This fight can come down to the wire, so I like running the Atlas uniform anyway, so it works out. Failing that, a party cleanse will suffice. Or just spam buffs into it like an idiot. I used to do that too. On defeat, Jack gives every other enemy a relatively small, repeating heal. It's a fair bit more annoying in the prototype version, being 3 times stronger, but it's still one of the least impactful death effects, so you should zero out Jack immediately pretty much regardless of your strat. Medea, on the other hand, can spam poison, which is annoying, but her death effect is a nightmare. It massively increases the defense of all remaining enemies. Given that one of them is Nero with multiple unremovable guts, you want to delay this as long as possible with most strategies. Servants with defense ignoring effects can power through it, but a lot of the more convenient options only have that property on their noble phantasm, which caps how quickly you can burn through Nero's guts. Lancer Alter's death effect gives all surviving enemies accelerated NP gain, which piles on a lot of pressure as your resources get low deep into the fight. For this reason, it's in your interest to keep Alter alive as long as you reasonably can. Letting your NP does have risk though. Rungaminiad applies an NP seal which can throw off your rhythm, so maybe just Merc her on turn 4 if you want to play it safe. As you defeat members of the initial 3, you'll have to contend with Nero's own backline. The first of these is Amaxashiro. He reduces your max health and he can keep doing this. Left to his own devices, you'll have nothing left to fight with. And I'll note that the Immortal team should be able to clear this fight, but you'll want to take out Amaxa as soon as possible. His Noble Phantasm has a preemptive AoE buff removal, and this makes him a ticking time bomb for slow clear setups. For this reason, I'd recommend the Morgan variant over the Himiko setup. But even in general, Amaxa is a very high priority, so before you knock out Jack, make sure you have some fuel in the tank to zero him out quickly. Next up is Ozymandias. He'll essentially pop Imperial Privilege on entry and will spam his party battery. If Alter is down by this point, the combination of these two effects will make the fight spiral out of control. On death, he gives his team a permanent sure hit, so make sure your finisher doesn't rely on evades to stay alive. He's the next highest priority after Amaxa, so you'll have to take him down quickly. Finally, there's Nero. She starts with her triple guts active and unremovable. You'll want to wear these down without killing her because her death effect is to give all remaining enemies guts. In the normal version of the fight, you're supposedly able to power through it, but I wouldn't risk it. In the prototype though, this effect is insurmountable. You won't be able to kill anyone left on the field, forcing you to quit out. Ideally then, you'll want to get Nero to her final bar and then take out Medea to make sure she benefits from increased defense as little as possible. That said, Nero will aggressively fish for Imperial Privilege procs, so her defense can spiral out of control even without Medea's buff. To get around this, run a defense ignoring attacker if at all possible. Archers are ideal like Fujino, the 2 Emias, Napoleon, and Moriarty. She's not a saber, but funny enough I had a fair bit of luck using Nero herself as a beat stick, though her single hit Noble Phantasm makes a turn 1 loop kind of annoying to set up. If you're gonna go that route, just be aware that Invictus Spiritus is incompatible with the guts from 3-legged race, so you'll have to wait for the latter to pop first. I actually lost a run due to Nero getting double tapped in this window, which was pretty unfortunate. To even the odds, I'd also recommend equipping your main attacker with defense removing command codes. The Aconite Witch's command seal in particular is great since it purges both halves of Imperial Privilege. If you go the AoE route and side down Nero's companions, she becomes an extreme threat because on top of that guts, she has a pair of deadly crit buffs. She'll also have Lalter's accelerated charge and Medea's defense among other things, making her quite a tough nut to crack. So this is an option I'd recommend for defense ignoring servants. Otherwise, the single target route is better at keeping Nero herself under control. That said, isolating Nero early does have the advantage of leaving only one Noble Phantasm you need to parry. You'll have to do it often, but with Castorius readily available, it's more than doable. And if you're stripping or ignoring all her defense buffs anyway, you can quickly cut her down to size. But if you're particularly worried, consider running taunters like George, and either version of Mash to have low-cost distractions towards the end of your backline. They might buy you that extra turn you need to finish the fight. Otherwise, good luck. I'll be doing exhibition quests like this on my stream, twitch.tv/Finotaisen. I'm on the air every weekend at 3 PM Pacific time, Friday through Sunday, but I'll let the rest of this run play out. Unlike previous runs, this footage is taken straight from my stream, so you'll hear me yammering. Till next time.
We have alternatives. Okay, got another Nero NP. Removing them? No, I think we have buff removal codes on Nero. I think that's fine. Dude, Nero just likes playing gacha, man. She can't help it. That's the spammer Imperial Privilege proc. Dude! Stop it, stop getting SSRs. No, you know what? Time to put this idiot to bed once and for all. Alright, nap time. Oh, that was hard.